Hi guys, it's ArchieLuxury here. And today guys, I want to make the video, am I too poor for Rolex? That's right guys, am I too poor for Rolex? So today guys, I want to make the video, how much money do you need to have to buy a Rolex watch? How much money should you have? Now guys, this topic here is a very spicy thing. Am I too poor for a Rolex? Okay, how much money should you have? Well, let's discuss this. Now guys, I am 48 years old, about to be 49 in October. I've been around the block. I've been married twice. I have twice on paper. I had another wife. I had another lady I was living with for a period of 2 years, but I never officially signed the paper. So officially twice I was actually married. The third one was kind of, you could argue it either way. Anyhow, I don't want to get into semantics. I've been around the block. I've done a few stupid things. And I've also had a number of wrist watches in my time. So I want to make this video as a guide to my younger self and for all the people there who want to know, am I too poor to own a Rolex? So let's have a look. Now, obviously, if you own, quick wristwatch check. What am I wearing? Tudor. I'm wearing a Tudor Black Bay Burgundy bezel. Okay, am I too poor to own a Rolex? Now, I gotta tell you, I would support, how much money is the watch? Say the watch is $10,000 US. Well, you need to either have $10,000 to be able to buy the watch, or you need to be able to borrow $10,000 to afford the watch and service the debt. Now, the thing is, that's not all it costs. It's like if you say, how much is a Lamborghini or a Ferrari? Well, it's also the insurance, the upkeep, it's not just the price of the car. So the same can be applied to watches. So if a man has one Rolex watch, what would that cost? And I use, for example, I think this is a very classic piece. This is the Rolex Milgauss. It's a $10,000 US watch. In Australia, what's it, about 14,000. On the pre-owned market, it's selling for a slight premium above retail. Now, the thing is, to get one of these, I would encourage all men, as soon as they've finished their education, get yourself a Rolex to help with your career. It's much more important to get a nice wristwatch than, say, a fancy automobile. It's much more important to get a nice wristwatch than, say, a really expensive suit. You're better off to go for an average suit and get the Rolex. This is a timeless piece of elegance that will hopefully see you through your career into the retirement and the possible afterlife. So, one Rolex, 10,000 US smackaroonies. Now, I'm just going to back that figure up there. If I go and have a quick look at my good sponsor, David SW, he has some amazing pieces there. I'm just going to back this figure up. We're talking Milgauss. What is a Milgauss? How much is a milli? And actually, they're 9275 for a GV black dial. The blue ones are a little bit more. The cheapest blue one he's got is 11, low 11s. There we go, $10,000, $11,000. So I would encourage any man who's thinking about getting a Rolex, get it, get it, get it, get it. Get Steel Sports. That's my advice. Okay, so first Rolex. So my advice is he just needs access to $10,000 to $11,000. Okay, but the second Rolex. So a man has one, and then he wants to get a second Rolex. Now, for example, he could be looking for a Submariner to go with the Millie. The Submariner. How much should he have there? Now we're talking. Now, I've got to tell you, if a man is going to buy his second watch, he really should have a stable footing. He needs to have really put down a good deposit on a home, either an apartment or a condominium. He needs to be laying some bases. Now, a watch like this here on David SW, a 41 mil steel Submariner, is about 15,000 US macaroonies. How much does he need? Now, unlike the first watch where I said get into it as any way you can, he's really got to be more substantial. I got to tell you, you know what the man needs to be doing? He needs to be earning 20 to 30% more than the average income, okay? And he needs to have a net worth. I got to tell you this, guys. He needs to be net worth. Net worth is asset minus liabilities. He needs to have a net worth of $250,000. That's right, guys. If he's not earning, now his salary, you can tweak it any way you like. You could say he can earn average salary and have a wee bit more, $300,000, or he can have a great salary and have a bit less in equity. Now, why would that be the case? Maybe he's got student loans he's paying off. Maybe he's a spendthrift. He's had a bit of a shopping addiction. Well, you got to fix this up very quick. So I got to be honest with you. A man, first watch, he just needs this to be able to come up with either the payment or he needs to be able to buy it, okay? To get the second one, he needs to be worth $250,000. That's correct. Now, you might ask the question, what about if it's a couple, Arch? Couple. Well, you know, I'm talking household income. If you, no point talking about this, if you are boyfriend, girlfriend's got to be married. Dave Ramsey advice, got to be married. So, if a man has 2 Rolexes, he's really got to be worth net, this is after asset minus liability, $250,000, $250,000 to about 300. This is the range he should be in. If he's not at least that, don't buy it, don't buy it. And then the next question is, how much does he need if he wants to add a third Rolex? Third Rolex, let me tell you, let me give you the numbers exactly. He needs to be worth net over $500,000. That doesn't mean he can't have a mortgage and some commitments. He needs to be worth well over $500,000. Now that could be a husband and wife team. They could have a couple of kids. They could, but he needs to be $500,000. He needs to have some substantial equity in his home. I would say 50% paid off. He needs to have a motor vehicle, maybe a lease, but it'd be better if he owned it outright, and he also needs to have some money in retirement, the 401ks, the IRAs, all that stuff. He needs to be $500,000. You should not get a third Rolex unless you are worth at least $500,000. $500,000. If you're not worth $500,000, don't get the third Rolex. You want to buy these comfortably and live a reasonable life? Sure. You can just be a single bachelor in your man cave. You can be living in a rented apartment, and you could have these three. For about 40 to 50,000 US dollars, but realistically, comfortably, I'm telling you, as a man who's been around the block a few times, don't own 3 Rolexes unless you are worth $500,000 net. That's asset minus liability. That is what you need. That is it. So to own 3 Rolexes, you shouldn't consider it unless $500,000. $500,000. $500,000. That is the magic figure. Hi guys, ArchieLuxury. And who do I recommend in America? In America, who do I recommend for quality pre-owned wristwatches? David SW. Go to davidsw.com. He is the best, the greatest pre-owned dealer in all of the United States of America. David SW. $500,000 minimum. Now people are going to say, "Hey Arch, but Arch, you're not worth terribly much." I'm not saying that I follow these rules. I am telling you my experience as a watch collector. That's the sort of net worth you need. If you want to have 3 Rolexes, Rolex Steel Sports, modern Rolexes, you got to be worth $500,000. Otherwise, it's going to put pressure on other parts of your lifestyle. Other parts of your life, you're not going to be comfortably be doing it. Now, you can do whatever you want. We don't live in a communist dictatorship. Sorry, please just ignore that if you're in Canada, Australia, or the UK. But I got to tell you guys, seriously, $500,000, that's minimum net worth. That's asset minus liability, $500,000. That's the sort of wealth you need to have 3 good Rolex watches. I'm ArchieLuxury. I'll see you in the next one. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and don't be afraid to put some good comments below. Hey guys, ArchieLuxury. Who do I recommend for watches in Brisbane and Sydney? Vintage Watch Co. That's correct. Vintage Watch Co. in Brisbane Arcade in Brisbane and the Strand Arcade in Sydney. Vintage Watch Co. Brisbane and Sydney. Ronnie, I've known him since the late 90s. Ronnie is a top bloke. Luke is a great guy. Vintage Watch Co. That is who I recommend in Australia. Check out Vintage Watch Co. and the guys' amazing range of watches. They also do service and repairs. Vintage Watch Co. That is where the Pontiff goes. You know, some of my Pateks came from Vintage Watch Co. That's right, guys. Vintage Watch Co.